My feedback's ready. Let's see how it went. Hi Natalia, welcome to this week's critique. Now, honey, she's a mess. Your work this week has a lot to fix. The poses aren't reading completely clearly. It feels very robotic. Check from frame 1 to frame 117, okay? Go in, fix everything. I'm sure you'll figure it out. Well, good luck, and I will see you in class. Bye-bye now.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't.
Okay, just so you know, disclaimer, that has never happened to me. None of my mentors have ever said that to me. They've been very kind actually, but sometimes when you get feedback on something that you worked really hard on and you poured all your heart and soul into, and it's just not up to scratch, it's disappointing and it just feels like a punch in the gut. It's taken a while for me to learn how to properly receive feedback and critiques and how to best apply them to my work and improve my shot without all those sad feelings that you get, and we're here to share that with you.
This is a super important skill, as animation is all about feedback. We need feedback from our peers, our mentors, and even the regular Jane Doe on the street to make sure that what we are creating is actually clear and it looks as natural as possible.
Welcome to Students of Animation, the channel for and by student animators. If you like what you see here, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel and it tells us what you guys like to see so we can make more of that kind of content.
And did you know we're also streaming on Twitch Thursday Pacific time? Because now you do. And you usually find me over there. Do find us on all our socials too and share with us your own tips on how you take critiques. Okay, let's go.
You get your feedback. Now what? Step 1, panic. Joking. Don't panic.
This is our curse as creatives. A part of our soul is in everything we create. It's hard, especially when we submit something thinking that we've worked really hard, put our best efforts, only to see that it wasn't up to scratch.
So, when this happens, the first thing you're going to want to do when you get your feedback or critique is watch it, then run away. Get out of there. Take a walk or even just leave it for a day. Just give yourself time or even space just to think about and digest what the critique has said.
I actually spoke to one of the Kaine support staff over at Animation Mentor. She gave me this advice which basically saved my turn, right? When you care about something so much, or in this case view the critique with that lens of fear, allow yourself to feel all those emotions. We're human, we're going to feel those emotions sometimes. So watch it, feel it, get it all out, and then just step away. Make a time for you to come back to it. So when you come back, you have a clear head and you can actually figure out what your mentor is trying to say instead of seeing all those things that you thought they were saying out of your sense of fear.
So when I was doing my first advanced body mechanics shot, I really had a tough time and my mentor just kept laying into me. And he was telling me what I needed to hear, it wasn't working right. I put a lot of time, trying to get it right. I just kept being off just a bit and it was just hard to sit there, see your grade and you see the feedback and you're just like, I am not meant to be here. I am failing, I'm doing awful, your mind starts to spiral. It's just so important to take a step back, get away from the computer, go do something you enjoy, then come back ready to listen. Not as a tell me that I'm a bad animator, but come at it at how can I take this criticism, learn from it, and fix my shot to make it better, to make me a better animator. It's always important to remember that your mentor is not attacking you, he's not attacking your shot just because he doesn't like it, because they want you to get better. Because that's what you're in school for. You're in school to learn and get that hard feedback. If they just tell you, yeah, your shot's great, and it's not, you haven't learned a dang thing and you wasted money.
I come from a 2D background and I remember how soul-crushing it was in the very beginning. It was such a learning experience because if you make a mistake, most often you'll have to start over again. You just need to keep your mind open because that feedback is there for you, especially when you're a student. It doesn't affect anyone else's work. Everyone's just trying to help you improve as fast as possible. The moment you separate yourself from that horrible feeling inside, you start improving much faster and you will never make those mistakes again. It's better to do it early and later on when you're on a TV show or on a film production and people actually count on you. Just embrace making mistakes, embrace feedback because people are trying to help you. Deep breaths and it's going to be okay.
When you're ready to come back to watch a critique for the second time, come back with a notebook, pen, or whatever you take notes on, and be ready to listen out for all the constructive criticisms that your mentor or whoever's giving you the feedback has for you.
Taking notes on everything that is said during the feedback is a great way to kind of actually lay it all out and create a checklist for yourself, which you can slowly tick off as you get through your work. One at a time though, that's the trick. This way it feels actually less overwhelming than just to hear all at once. You can organize these notes from easiest to hardest, or you can even write it down in order of importance, from biggest things that affect your work to the littlest things that affect your work. I actually go with the big important things first, like say I have to work with timing and spacing. Instead of working with like small little hand movements, I'll work on timing and spacing first, and then I'll go into like posing and then like small minute details.
Let's, for example, look at how AM works. We get feedback and it's in the form of a video. Usually it's between 10 to 20 minutes long. Let's say like every 2 minutes you pause the video. And when you pause the video, you take a notebook or you use your computer and you write things down. Keep going, but very in depth and in detail. Some people prefer to keep writing things for the whole video, but for me that goes back to the overwhelming side of things. What I do, I finish at 2 minutes, then I go into Maya, I fix the frames roughly like to 80% satisfaction. Then once it's okay, I move on to the next bit of feedback. I watch that, I make the notes for that, and then I go back to Maya, I fix that bit.
For me personally, I usually go through a list of my critique by related notes. So if I have notes about the eyes in 3 different places in my shot, I usually go through and get the eyes worked out before going on to the next note.
One way to avoid that gut punch feeling is to give feedback early and often. It's better to catch the little things early, even the bigger things early, than once you spend a lot of time crafting something and in the end it just doesn't work out.
Getting feedback early and fast also helps to make sure that your work is clear every step of the way. And this is also important since animation usually happens fairly quick, and your audience has to be able to understand what is actually happening within just a few seconds as it flashes on the screen.
One way to do this is to attend dailies. This, for animation mentor students and also for the industry, is where you come together with your peers and show what you have so far in your shop. For animation mentor students, you'll jump into a Zoom meeting, send a link in the Zoom chat, so that the dailies host, usually an alumni, will put you in the queue, and then when it's your turn, give you a live 15 to 20 minute critique. It's a wonderful way to get great feedback while also interacting with the community and seeing what your peers are working on. And hey, might even make a friend or two if you go often enough.
Well, if you can't attend dailies, that's okay. There are other ways to get feedback. See if you can ask one of your peers or classmates, one of your friends, even one of your family members to have a look at your work and see what they think. Any feedback is always beneficial, which brings us to our last point.
Asking your mentor or peers for a little extra detailed explanation about a certain part of the critique is perfectly fine. If you feel that there's a certain part where you don't quite understand what is being asked of you, getting that additional insight can be of great help. You could ask the person that gave you the critique, or if they're not available, a peer could bring on a new perspective for you.
A few times I personally would actually email my mentor, ask them for any more information, or maybe talk about how I can actually work with their critiques or their feedback that they give me. Normally the extra communication helped me personally realize what they were actually trying to say. It's also a great idea to talk to your class about setting up a Discord or even a chat room together outside of class. That way all of your classmates and you can work together on your guys' projects.
Going off of that, maybe expand outside of your class. Us personally here, students of animation, a lot of us met in class and we expanded, and we have a pretty large Discord talking about animation. We talk about stuff going on in the industry, and we all just became really close. And they would have brought us way closer than if we were to just see each other one time a week. But it's so helpful to say, hey, did you guys get this during the lecture? Or, hey, can you help me understand this feedback? Because I'm just not getting it. We do that all the time. So it's really important to build that sense of community in your class. If you have notes from your mentor that are just hit you hard and you can't understand it, if you can't talk to your mentor, I know a lot of schools have, maybe it's a peer buddy system like Animation Mentor, or they have alumni tutoring or anything like that. If you just go in and say, hey, can you help me can you help me dig through these notes and, and understand what he's trying to say? It'll make it a lot easier for you to apply those notes to your side.
Sometimes talking to a trusted peer, classmate, friend, or family member about your feedback and maybe how you felt when you received it is a good way to ease your worries about your short and also as your abilities as an animator. I know from experience that it's really easy to place your own value as a person into your work. And that's not a healthy mindset to have. If you keep placing your own value as a person and human being into your work, you'll end up becoming like one of those lost souls in the movie Soul, where you get really overly obsessive about perfecting the craft and just being so good at it and you just want to be the best animator ever. At the end of the day, although this is our passion and your art and your craft is something you really love and you really do want to improve on and become better at, it's just animation. It shouldn't be something that you just turmoil over. Be kind to yourself. Know that you're still learning. I mean, I'm certainly still learning as a student of animation, especially with animation. When you do something, it may not be so great the first time, but then the next time's going to be better. And then when you do it for a third time, it's going to be even better than the second time. And you just keep working on it and keep improving. There will always be a way to fix a problem that you have.
And that's all we've got. We hope we've helped you at least a tiny bit to feel like you're not the only one, first of all. And second of all, to feel like feedback is not that bad. It's just all part of the process,
From taking a breather to talking out with a friend, we've hoped what we shared here can help you avoid those punch-in-the-gut feelings as much as possible when receiving feedback.
We really, want you to understand that all is in the name of getting better. So just remember that, keep that in mind when you get that feedback.
And we love to hear from you. Find us on our social media, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, the works, and share with us what you do to process your critiques and feedback.
Thank you for watching and hang in there, and happy animating.